name is Jason. I'm here from not a course, but from Experiences in Channeling. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. So I'm just coming on to talk about absolutely nothing. And the first absolute nothing thing that I'd like to talk about is I'd like to share a little bit about the impressions, kind of psychic impressions that you can get. And then I wanted to share a little bit about spiritual atmospheres. And then I wanted to talk about how to rule the world. And yeah, I guess those are the three absolute nothing things I'd like to talk about. You can check out my site. It's in the background if you're interested. Recently, I've been very busy. Everything's been becoming extremely busy for some reason, out of nowhere. And so my mind is a little bit scattered. But I just wanted to come on just to kind of catch up. I've been doing walking meditations in my morning. For my morning commute, I'll be channeling on my way to my commute. And so I'm going to start releasing those as well. But so first thing I wanted to talk about is impressions, psychic impressions that you can get. So I think a lot of you are very similar to me, people that are watching, a lot of you that are watching, and that you pick up things, that you are able to sense emotions, right? You're able to kind of plug into the emotions of a room, into a place. And what I usually feel, I feel most of the feelings on my head, on the top of my head, back of my head. And I just wanted to talk about that. I've been taking a course recently, a kind of Qigong course, and because I'm very interested. Chinese medicine is really interesting stuff, and it's been around for 5,000 years, and it works. I go to my acupuncturists, a few times a month, and I don't go to the doctor. I go to the acupuncturist. It works. It's been around for 5,000 years. I mean, it's not broken. No need to fix it. And as you all probably already know too, like about the medical system in America and therefore throughout the world was kind of taken over by something called the Flexner Report. There was a very wealthy family that was involved in making oil, and the oil byproducts. They had these oil byproducts, and what do we do with the oil byproducts? Why don't we make medicine? So you'll notice all the Western medicine is oil based, and that's when the idea of like quacks came out, right? When the idea of like, this guy's a quack because he's doing alternative medicine. That all came out because of this report. And this basically changed the whole medical system, the way doctors were taught, what they were taught, what they were not taught. So all of this, up until that point, that all of that history of medicine was just out the window. And you weren't even allowed to talk about it anymore. And people they still say the word quack today. Like that's, it's like, but so Chinese medicine, and there are many Chinese people in America, as you probably know too. And there's the story that they built the American, what's it called? The American railroad tracks all throughout America. They're built by Chinese people who came over and to do that, right? That's the story. But then there are other stories, like from California. I think it's called Fusang. Fusang is, I think it was in the 1400s, Chinese people had discovered California, or what is known as California. And so they had been in America for a very, very long time. And they actually, California was built up at that time. There's many different theories. We don't really know what the true theory is, so I just wanted to share that about Chinese medicine. There were the soda fountains, Coca-Cola came from Chinese medicine. People in Japan, when they first had Coca-Cola back in I think it was in the 60s or 50s, probably the late 50s. I hear from elderly people here. They said when they first had it, they said it just tasted like medicine. Like, what is this stuff? It just tastes like medicine. And because it was a Chinese medicine blend that the soda fountains were making blends to heal people, right? It wasn't just like, let's drink some, soda that's bad for us. It's full of sugar. It was filled with all kinds. It was tonic. It was to help you. It was to heal you. But that all went out the window, and then it just turned into like this sugary stuff that's not good for you and causes all kinds of problems. So, that even marshmallows, right? Marshmallows it's an ancient healing technique. Marshmallows were actually really, really good for you. And they used to use the marshmallow plant, and it was really good for your immune system. But that's, yeah. So anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. But my point was about, what the heck was my point? Where did I go with this? But we're talking about, so that's what I mean. This video is about absolutely nothing. So that's what I wanted to talk about. So about these psychic impressions that we get, that's also considered, when I used to, before I started channeling, before I realized what they were, I thought I would look up online to find out what was happening, and they would say, oh, you should probably go to the doctor because that sounds like a brain problem. Something's wrong with you or something, just no, nothing's really wrong. It's just that before someone gets angry, I can sense the anger before it actually erupts. Or I can kind of pick up on what everyone's feeling, not intentionally. I don't want to. I just feel it. I feel, I can feel the anger as an intense pain, or it's like anger or sadness. It's right around here, or if something or someone is attempting to kind of get in my system. What like a psychic attack or any kind of energetic attack, I can feel that too, and I can feel the pain, and then I can go into meditation and get a visual of what it is and who it is that's sending it, and so these sorts of things, and that's kind of like that would be considered crackery. I don't even know how to say it. As I said, absolutely nothing. But so I wanted to share that idea that if you're experiencing these sorts of things, you're not alone, that there are many people all over the world experiencing this, and it's natural, that you're just more in touch with your aura, with your biofield, with everything. And to connect with that, because that's a superpower. That's a really important thing, to be able to do that. And so with this Qigong course, that's where I was getting back to. Okay, so this Qigong course, I signed up for it because it's they were talking about how to manage your energy. So I get a lot of attacks, a lot, and I am sometimes, depending on the level of the attack, sometimes the attacks are so intense that they just knock me out. I can't really do much about it. I do all my stuff, but it's still like, oh, that was just really intense. And sometimes I can deal with it by going to meditation and putting it in the neutralizer, this thing that I created, that it just neutralizes all the energy and allows you to communicate with whatever it is without that thing becoming angry. So this Qigong course was talking about how you create an energetic force around you. And it's a breathing technique and everything like that. I've just started it. But what the interesting thing for me was that using all of the different elements, the earth, wind, water, and fire, to repel different attacks, depending on the attack. And so I often use kind of more water, because water is my kind of thing. But so I've been just generating this kind of thing and experimenting with it, with these attacks. So it's very interesting to me. And one thing I guess I want to share, as this video still is about absolutely nothing, is so recently with the attacks that I've been getting, what's really interesting to me is that they've been, it's this kind of weird black kind of crow-looking thing with a sharp beak, but it's being generated by this little girl. And I don't think it's a little girl. I think it's like a grown woman, but that it's the little girl that was kind of trapped inside of her that is being used to create these things. And it's created from fear. So like we as humans, these entities are, they need to work through us. They need and so this is I think, I don't know if I didn't mean to talk about this. Oops. But anyway, so sometimes people who are split, people who have many different parts to themselves will have one part that is just filled with anger and fear, and then that will be utilized to create these sorts of things. And it's not that that person is doing the attack; that person is being utilized to do that. I feel like I've kind of stepped on a oof. Now I'm getting it. Oops. I've said too much. See, so now I'm picking up on it right here. There's an energy, yeah, right here. But it's just interesting to me the way that these attacks work. I mean, so in our world, we're kind of approaching this concept now of quantum physics, quantum engineering, quantum entanglement, and I think these kind of ideas are just quantum. It's just quantum. It's not. It's just science. So it's kind of like woo-woo, right? It sounds woo-woo now, but maybe in a few years, it's not going to be woo-woo anymore. It's just going to be science. Yeah, of course, that's how they work. That's how it works. Yeah, so I didn't mean to go too much into that, but yeah, so sharing that idea. And then also about spiritual atmospheres. So at times when you are getting some sort of like attack or whatever you want to call it, your energy field is being someone is stepping over your boundary, your energy boundary, and however you want to see that, it's like kind of woo-woo, or if you just want to see it like frequency-wise, or however you want to look at it, it's the same thing, right? But it's just a different method of doing the exact same thing. But if you'll sometimes feel it like around you, you feel like an atmosphere that just everything seems to be not going quite right, and you'll kind of be running into things, you'll drop things and all of these different things, and that's how you usually know you're under an atmosphere. So that's another type of attack where it's not like a direct attack, it's just your atmosphere is kind of intercepted. And I found, so I'm very open to all kinds of different techniques for working with this. So I'm working with the Qigong, and I found also that prayer works well. Like just using like Christian prayers, that I learned when I was a kid. I went to Catholic school as a kid. So just saying like the Our Father, and then just using prayers. I use the prayers of Miles Monroe. He has a lot of really great prayers. So yeah, it's very interesting to me, this idea, because it's interesting to me because it's something that I've suffered from for most of my life. So it's not something that I'm just curious about, like, oh, this is like a rabbit hole. It's like, no, I'm affected by it. So I want to know like actual ways of dealing with it. And I'm not really concerned much with like belief systems. It's, if it's Christian or not Christian, or this is Buddhist. It's like whatever works. I mean, it's just energy. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to share that. So for anyone else out there that's dealing with this kind of stuff, I would suggest, checking out like some of Miles Monroe's stuff. Or if you are experiencing this, prayer is good. Praying is really, really powerful. And so, yeah, looking into deliverance and all that kind of stuff. I looked a lot into deliverance. It was a little bit difficult at times because I'm not like, very, very religious. And I grew up in a Catholic going to Catholic school, and I had bad experiences there, and so I don't really have a positive image of church and these sorts of things, or groups in general. But I find that some of the prayers work if you get beyond a lot of the judgy stuff that's around it. if you just take away all the kind of judgment stuff and all the this is right or this is wrong or this person's going to hell, and just get rid of all that stuff, wipe off all the dust, and get to like the core kind of prayer, and that actually can help. And and sometimes you have to adjust the prayers as well to something that feels comfortable for you. So I just want to share that for anyone else who's dealing with this kind of stuff. It's kind of an ongoing process, and yeah. So, but it's a learning process, and you learn and you see a lot. I've been learning and seeing a lot of stuff, and realizing, that the world isn't what we assumed it was. And I'm sure all of you, everyone out there in the world at this moment is experiencing the same thing. The world isn't what we thought it was. And that's what this time of our world is about. So I want to share that. And then I wanted to share about, I just had a kind of idea about like how to rule the world. Like a lot of times people talk about how like everything that's happening in our world, and they say, well, no one's going to do that. Why would anyone do that? Why would everyone go that far? Like that, no one's going to do that. That's crazy. That's just, that's just silly talk. But if you think about it, like the way that it works, like the system, the way that the system works, right? It's just so and in every part of the world that you go to, even here in Japan, there are these community groups, and they have the same names all throughout the world. And there are these community groups that people join, and when they join, they take these oaths and of secrecy. And on the surface, they just do good, community works, but they are also kind of there's a lot more involved with it, and so you kind of pledge yourself to something that's bigger than yourself. So you are no longer pledged to, like, your country, for example. I'm from this country and I believe in this country. You actually have taken an oath to something different, and so you serve a different leader. And then these groups are all over the world, and it's all the same group. And so everyone's a part of that group, and then it's hard to leave that group, and then that group leads to the other groups, and they're all connected, and that's how it works. And then, but you operate in plain sight because everyone's just like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. They're just a community group. They build statues in the park, and they do good stuff. And so, yeah. And so, but that's how to rule the world, and that's how the world has been ruled. So it's just interesting to me, like, oh, I'd never really, it's so obvious and so clear. But I think that's one thing that's also shifting and changing at this time, which is interesting. And that was something that happened during the Second Great Awakening, I think back sometime in the 1800s. If you look into that, that's a really interesting. There are 3 Great Awakenings, and I think we're in the 4th Great Awakening. And I often wonder with these different awakenings if there is a tie-in. Like I said, this video is about absolutely nothing. I'm going all over the place. I always wonder if there's like a tie-in between these awakenings and then like a reset of some sort. Like maybe there was some sort of awakening. Maybe there was like a bit of an ascension that happened. Maybe a group of people just ascended, So we don't know for sure. So this is all just conjecture. As you know, I'm not saying that this is the way it is or not. I'm just it's something that interests me, and I'm just riffing here. So I wanted to share another thing, though. This is this lesson, holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Sometimes these lessons can be confusing. This one was a confusing one for me for a long time, and just understanding what the heck is a grievance, right? And why is it an attack on God's plan for salvation, right? But so the idea of this is that a grievance is anytime you judge anything that's happening outside of yourself, anything in your life, anything that you say that shouldn't be this way. That's not the way it should be. It is the way it should be, because that's how it is. And so looking at it with a judgment and saying that that's not right, this is not right, this isn't the way it should be, you're just attacking this. Everything's moving in the way that it needs to move. Everything's moving in the most perfect way imaginable. And so your kind of judgment of it is an attack on God's plan for salvation, and it's also putting you in an unhappy place because you're not happy with the world as it is. And that's the perfect place for the ego. The ego is like, yeah, great, we're not happy. That's what we want. We don't want to be happy. We want to blame God for everything. We want to blame, like, this whole situation is, and the interesting thing about this, one thing, like as a disclaimer, is that a lot of people would tend to think, like, well, that means that don't do anything. Like, if something's wrong, it's like, no, it doesn't mean don't change what's wrong. What it means is don't judge it. It means to look at it, see the things in your life that you want to change. Don't judge them. Don't, for example, there are people that in your life and that you might be angry, you're holding a grudge against, or you're attacking them in your mind. Letting go of that, because that's not serving anyone. I mean, if there's a problem, you deal with the problem. It's not about attacking the problem. You just deal with it. So you deal with it when you're within yourself first, because everything you see is a projection of what's inside of you. So that problem, all those problems are coming from you. And so if you don't look at the outside world, don't attack that world, look inside yourself and say, what is it that I need to heal in myself in order for this to change, in order for this to happen? And attacking it is just making it stronger. Making that problem more. So, and in this idea this relates to taking over the world. So the ego's fundamental wish is to replace God. In fact, the ego is the physical embodiment of that wish, for it is that wish that seems to surround the mind with the body, keeping it separate and alone and unable to reach other minds except through the body that was made to imprison. So this is it. So the body, where is it? Let's see. If God is a body, what must his plan for salvation be? What could it be but death? In trying to present himself as the author of life and not of death, he is a liar and deceiver, full of false promises and offering illusions in place of truth. The body's apparent reality makes this view of God quite convincing. In fact, if the body were real, it would be difficult indeed to escape this conclusion. And every grievance that you hold insists that the body is real. It overlooks entirely what your brother is. It reinforces your belief that he is a body and condemns him for it. And it asserts that his salvation must be death, projecting this attack onto God and holding him responsible for it. So to this carefully prepared arena where angry animals seek for prey and mercy cannot enter, the ego comes to save you. God made you a body. Very well. Let us accept this and be glad. As a body, do not let yourself be deprived of what the body offers. Take what little you can. God gave you nothing. The body is your savior. It is the death of God and your salvation. This is the universal belief of the world you see. Right? So that is the world, right? It's a belief in the body. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Yeah. So, but that's it. Just a belief in the body. But if the whole course is miracles is about getting beyond the view of the body. When you see someone that is bothering you, look beyond that person. Look with, as they call it, Christ's vision to see the love that they are. That they're actually just made pure love, right? And that's what's behind that. So yeah, I wanted to share that. And the other one lesson is nothing outside yourself can save you. Nothing outside yourself can give you peace. But it means that nothing outside yourself can hurt you or disturb your peace or hurt you in any way. And it's really important to remember this when you're watching all of the crazy stuff. We're in this very intense disclosure time on our planet where everything is hidden is being revealed. So remember that, And yeah, so I just wanted to share all that. And I'm going to extend I think I'm going to do a quick little channeling to clear the air a bit and then, call it a night. So, here we go. So I'm just going to do a quick channeling to kind of clear the air a bit. And here we go. Greetings, we are Yahweh, and this being does not like us to come through, but we do anyway. And the reason that we come through is because he is working on his forgiveness practice with us, with understanding, and with understanding all of the different archetypes that you as human beings have created. And we exist as an archetype now of many of your thoughts and ideas. And we are, in that sense, a very strong thought form that is embodied, an embodiment of thought forms. And what we would like to bring down to all of you at this moment is, as this being is talking about, the world that was hidden is being revealed. And that world is the world of the things that you can't usually see. In addition to all of the things that it is being revealed on the news. It is the world that you can't see, the world of what you call the spiritual. This will become more and more visual. You will be able to see it and experience it more and more as you are all coming more and more online. And what we would say is that because everything is coming online, it is, we would say, a good idea to start being aware of your extrasensory abilities, to tuning into them, because that will assist you in the coming times. Because once it all is revealed, it will be instantaneous. There will be an instantaneous pulling back of the curtains. And if you are not ready for it, it can be quite disconcerting. And so what we would suggest for all of you is, in any way, any method that you know, to get quiet, to go inside, to start to feel your energy, to start to understand where your energy is and what it is affected by, and to start being able to get into peace, to drop down into peace whenever you can. This will become a very, very important tool for you in the coming days. All right. So, yeah. I agree. I think it's really important to have a spiritual practice in these days because, yeah, things are ramping up a lot. And it's important to have it also so that you don't go into fear. So, with all of these things that I'm talking about too, fear is, you lose when you go into fear. Fear is losing. So if you think about the battle, it's a battle of fear and love, and so that's what you're battling when you are dealing with these attacks and things like that. It's about love. It's about understanding love. So and it's also understanding. Okay, well, this thing happened, but there's no reason to go into fear about it. You deal with the problem in whatever way you can. And also understanding that everything that you are given, everything that comes into your path, on your path, was something that you are able to handle. That there's higher purpose for everything. There's higher purpose for everything. God has a plan for everything. God has a plan for you. Everything that's happening to you it's part of the plan. So starting to see it like that and understand it, that all of these what seem like pitfalls or what seem like attacks are actually a chance to learn more, a chance to understand more, a chance to become stronger, a chance to become a better person, a chance to achieve more of what it is you came down here to achieve. So thanks, guys, for listening in. Thanks, Patty, and everyone else. So yeah, this is my video about absolutely nothing. So ciao for now. Hope you guys are hopeful.